What's going on, guys? CrustyKs here from the Gold Boys Network, back again, ready to talk about this college basketball slate for Monday. Recap yesterday, 2-3, not ideal, but still 7-3 in our first two videos. We will keep track, keep a running tally, keep a unit count, and I'll continue to post it in the comments of the videos as we do them. So shorter slate here on Monday. We got 3 games that we're going to talk about. I think it's like a 7 or 8 game slate, but the other games really don't have anything to offer. Truthfully, don't really want to talk about them, don't want to bet on them. So we're just going to skip those. But the first one we're going to talk about here, Wisconsin traveling to Rutgers. So you got Wisconsin off the big win over Iowa. If anybody watched that game, they won by 30. Got pretty much whatever they wanted. Probably their best offensive showing of the season. Now they head on the road here to face Rutgers, coming off that loss to Indiana. They were without Dylan Harper, which obviously, one of their freshmen, a crucial piece for, there's their team, period. So it looks like he is going to be back for this game. He missed that Indiana game with an illness. They've had like 4 days off now. So I'd imagine he's back. I don't see why he wouldn't be. And for me here, just looking at the spread's at 1.5 some places. I think that line's pretty short, and I think it's pretty telling. So I'm gonna take a chance here on Rutgers, plus 1.5, plus 1, whatever you want. And if you want to take the money line, go ahead and do that too. I think they win this game. I think they, obviously, if you're taking plus 1.5, you're really just taking to win the game. I will say though, in all my years of betting college basketball, if I can get the plus 1.5 at like basically the same juice that the money line's at, which you can right now because the money line's minus 110, and you're getting plus 1.5 for minus 110, just take it, because it doesn't happen often, but I have lost a couple bets taking a money line instead of taking the plus 1.5, and they lose the game by 1. So that being said, there's a minimal difference in value there. So if you're getting the plus 1.5, just take it. I know it seems silly, but take it. So for me here, like I said, Wisconsin off their best shooting performance of the season. I love to fade stuff like that, especially now going on the road. You get a Rutgers team who, obviously, 2 dynamic freshmen. These guys are probably going to get whatever they want against Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin offensively a lot. Haven't really loved them on the defensive end of the court. Their guards are a bit undersized. I like Blackwell a ton. Tanji really doesn't play a ton of defense, so I'm definitely concerned there. And Klesmit is undersized for the position, so I really think they struggle with the size of these guards for Rutgers. And I just don't know that they can replicate the scoring that they just had now going on the road for a full 40 minutes to keep up with Rutgers here. So, like I said, Rutgers plus 1.5. Line to me is glaringly short, and when I see that, I have to be on Rutgers. I think they win this game. The next one we are going to talk about, Houston taking on TCU. So this spread, Houston laying 18.5 points at home. Obviously a huge number, especially in conference play. I don't necessarily disagree with it. Houston offensively, the team that just frustrates the absolute hell out of me. If you've watched them, it's so inconsistent. Like LJ Cryer could go off. The other guys outside of Cryer, Cryer's inconsistent too, but the other guys outside of Cryer, good Lord. This team is just so frustrating to watch offensively. They're still super efficient. When you look at all the metrics, they look great. But the eye test for me, I don't know. I love Houston. They're a team that I do love to back. I back them often. I don't love this spot though. TCU, they play fast. They obviously get slowed down a bit by Houston, but they do a good job of not turning the ball over. They do have some size inside that I think can compete with the guys on Houston. So for me here, I'm going to take TCU plus the 18.5. This is a gross bet. It's definitely not a comfortable wager. Similar to kind of what we talked about with Kansas, laying the 5 against UCF, and we saw that they won by 50. I don't think TCU wins this game, but I think they can keep within 18.5. They're going to muck this game up the same way that Houston will. They're a team that loves to get on the glass and try to offensive rebound, obviously similar to Houston. Just these play styles are more alike than people realize. And obviously Houston's a clear-cut better team. They're almost 20-point favorite. But in this particular game, like I said, you get Houston coming off one of their more efficient shooting performances of the season against BYU. Obviously, they're still at home, so that's big for them. But I don't know. I think TCU has the physicality to kind of match, and I think they can hang within this number here. Houston's been covering, I think like 5 straight spreads or something like that, or 4 out of 5. And when I see stuff like that, I like to fade those kind of streaks because I think people, if it looks too easy, it's probably not going to hit. And I think that people need to realize that, especially in college basketball. Referencing that Kansas game once again, if you look at the betting splits for that game, UCF had like 91% of the bets and like 95% of the handle because everybody sees Kansas, they don't look good. Everybody sees UCF, who looks like the greatest team in the world, and people just, it looks easy. UCF +5 at home? Well, okay. Given how bad TCU's looked and given how Houston's looked and the fact that they just keep covering spreads, Houston -18.5 looks pretty easy. So I'll take the gross side, TCU +18.5 here. They're going to muck this thing up. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes under. I think both teams, maybe even in the 60s. I think this thing is within 10. That's my guess. So TCU +18.5. The last one we're going to talk about is Ohio State traveling to Minnesota. Ohio State coming off that game against Michigan State where they lost outright as like a 2.5 point favorite, 1.5 point favorite, something like that. Minnesota coming off a game against Purdue where the Minnesota was definitely the sharp side to be on. I myself fell victim to it, and this team absolutely sucks. Can't score consistently, allows a ton of open looks from three, and seeing this number, so Ohio State laying 4.5 points, this looks short once again, but I'm not willing to fall on the grenade with Minnesota. I think this team's just bad, and it's kind of funny because Minnesota was a team last year who covered I think almost every spread. I think they were some sort of 85% ATS or something. It was insane. But this year things are different. This team is not good. Dawson Garcia really just hasn't seemed to. I don't know if he's still playing pretty well, but it just doesn't seem like the same guy, same energy. Mike Mitchell's kind of been a ghost all season since returning from injury, and this team just doesn't have the guys. Losing Hawkins, I think, was a big deal because they really don't have a point guard to kind of fill that role now. And I'm going to lay the 4.5 with Ohio State on the road. I mean, obviously, this is a spot where I'm assuming Minnesota's probably going to be the sharp side once again because people are going to see them at a similar number to what they just got rolled at and want to back them. But when you look at the matchup, I mean, Minnesota had done a pretty good job of limiting threes until they played Purdue. And now you get an Ohio State team who plays a similar play style. And I think they're going to get those looks from 3 too. And they have some really good three-point shooters on this team. Down low, I mean, I think the biggest X factor for me is if Minnesota's going to hang in games, it has to be Dawson Garcia because they just don't have the role players to get them the points consistently. And Dawson Garcia, I mean, he's going to be matched up with either, I'd imagine, Bradshaw, but I could see Royal going at him too just because he's a little more athletic. If he can get Royal into foul trouble, I'd say maybe Minnesota has a chance of keeping this number. But like I said, this is just a team where I'm not willing to fall on that knife. I just don't think they're good. And I mean, you look at their schedule, and I mean, you look at, the record, the ATS, all that stuff. They haven't, I mean, they're 0-3 in conference play. I mean, you'd like to think they're going to win one eventually. But looking at their schedule, Ohio State at home, then they go on the road and play Wisconsin, Maryland, back home against Michigan. I think this team's bad. And I really do think it could be, a month until they get a conference win. I really do. If I'm wrong and they win this one, then I mean, so be it. Ohio State's not a team I'm really high on, but I do think that they're clear-cut better team here. So I will back them minus the 4.5. Like I said, I think Minnesota's just bad. I really don't know what else to say. They're a team. They're 347th in free throw percentage. So you're facing Ohio State, who does foul quite a bit. That's the one metric that I would be concerned with, is they do foul a lot. But if you're sending Minnesota to the free throw line, they can't shoot free throws. I think they have one guy shooting above the league, the national average in free throw percent. Everybody else is terrible. Like I said, 347th in free throw percent as a team. They don't make them. And if you're not making free throws when you're getting in the line, it doesn't matter if you're getting in the line, 30, 40 times because you're not making them. So Ohio State minus 4.5. I think that's the right side. That's the side that I will be on. These are the 3 games I want to talk about, though. Like I said, pretty short slate. Didn't really want to bore anybody with any of the mid-major type stuff, so I just left it out. Maybe in the future we'll add some of those in here, but for this one, kept it short, sweet, to the point. As always, get all my official plays at goldboys.com. If you have a gambling problem, tell one on her gambler. Thank you guys.